Welcome back to another episode of A Look Beyond the Continent. My name is Emil, and together with my co-host Ezra's, we discuss Gwent, our favorite competitive card game, as well as topics such as streaming, social media growth, and of course, the Witcher universe. In today's episode, we are joined by a very special guest to discuss what it's like to be the number one streamer within a game category. Our guest is a lifelong gamer who started playing Call of Duty professionally in the earlier part of his gaming career, whilst also going on to study a business commerce honors degree at university. After playing The Witcher 3, this is where he came across Gwent. And when he discovered there was a standalone game, he decided to start streaming his games on Twitch. Fast forward to today, he is the number one Gwent streamer, is a member of Team Leviathan Gaming, and consistently finishes in the high ranks of the Gwent Pro ladder. So with that being said, we are delighted to welcome Spyro to the podcast. Thanks for joining us today, and we're so excited to have you on.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. Looking forward to seeing what we discuss.
So from what
Lord of Monkeys has arrived.
So from what we've heard, you got into Gwent when you played The Witcher 3. I think a lot of people discovered Gwent through The Witcher 3, myself and Ezra's included. But it was on yeah, I think so. So you started playing Gwent on PlayStation 4, if I'm not mistaken, which is very interesting. I didn't even realize it was on a console. And prior to that, you were playing professionally in Call of Duty. So why did you decide to stream your games, and specifically, why did you want to stream Gwent?
Well, basically after my degree, I was looking for a job, and it was quite I finished my studies, I was looking for work, and I was spending I was obviously applying every day for work, and then after I applied, then I kind of just sat at home. I was like, well, I'm playing Gwent, I'm kind of just doing stuff. I'm playing Gwent after my applications, and it was the kind of repetitive day cycle of mine. I thought, okay, well, I may as well stream my games while I'm playing it, just give myself something to do while I'm applying for work. And then I started streaming, and slowly but surely I started applying less and less and started streaming more and more until eventually just became my full-time thing, basically.
Yeah, were you on Twitch before you started streaming, or did you just jump into going on Twitch and streaming? Because I know myself.
No, I was. Oh, sorry.
No, I was gonna say I had no idea what Twitch was when I started streaming. So I think some people might be, like long-time lurkers before they start streaming. So yeah, were you lurking before, or you just went straight on and started streaming?
I was very active in the Twitch community. I was in a lot of people actually recognized me from before I started streaming from the Twitch. I was somewhat known from Twitch chats before I started streaming, which I guess helped me out in the beginning. So like a lot of the people that I would hang around with or talk to in Twitch chats kind of just saw me streaming, like, oh, I know that guy from so and so's chat or so and so's chat, which actually helps a little bit in the beginning to give you a small boost when you start.
That totally describes me. I'm like in every Gwent channel. It's like, oh hey, it's you. Oh hey, it's you.
You see regular faces for sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your first stream.
Stream.
Yes.
Is this Gwent? Because fun story, before I started streaming Gwent, I was actually streaming a little bit of Call of Duty just for fun, because Gwent, I came from console, and back when they made Homecoming, it didn't come out on console for the first month and a half. So for a month and a half after PC got the Homecoming, I was kind of just stuck going like, well, I can't play Gwent because I don't have a PC, so I streamed Call of Duty a little bit for the first couple of streams. So
your first few streams were actually Call of Duty before it was Gwent.
Call of Duty and Red Dead Redemption 2 a little bit. That's basically
okay. So
wow.
Yeah. Tell us.
Those streams were very, very not so successful. I was getting it's a story of how all streamers start, getting like 2 average viewers, 1 average viewer.
That was going to be our next question, was like, talk us through what your first stream was like, because I know for a lot of the listeners or the viewers, Streaming for the first time can be so daunting. I don't know if you guys can remember your first streams, but doing it for the first time, making sure your audio is all correct. I mean, we had a few technical
Yeah.
difficulties this morning, but yeah, just
Yeah.
tell us how did it feel with your first stream? Like, how many viewers did you have? Did you stream on your computer or did you stream on
I
PlayStation?
streamed directly from PlayStation, and it was a bit of a. It wasn't. I didn't when, like I said, when I first started streaming, I was streaming Call of Duty and stuff, and that was very different when I started streaming Gwent, because within the Gwent scene, I was somewhat known, kind of, from Twitch chat and stuff. So people knew more or less who I was. When I stream Call of Duty, obviously it's a different game. There's thousands of streamers, and it's a very different audience. So no one knew who I was except for people within the South African community, I suppose. But it's a much bigger audience. So when I stream Call of Duty, I was getting like 1, 2 average viewers. And this was when I streamed Call of Duty, I wasn't even a competitive player. That was after I like retired already. That was just me playing for the fun of it, just for a new Call of Duty like 2 or 3 years after I retired. When I streamed Gwent, though, that was very different, because that's when people were like, "Oh, I recognize this guy." And I would have the first Gwent stream I did, I had like an average of 16 to 20 viewers, because again, people knew relatively who I was. I was still a new streamer on both, but Gwent, because I'm more known in that community, it gave me a little bit of a boost. And then I think the second stream I ever did, Try had hosted me, and then I had like an average on that stream for like 40 or 50 viewers. So that was quite interesting, and then obviously more people were like, "Oh, I don't know this. I know this guy, and I've seen him around," and then kind of went from
Yeah.
there.
Imagine if somebody clipped that a long time ago and just go back and watch it just to see your reaction. What would they say now?
I can't remember what my reaction was, so long ago.
Yes.
Just just how much would chat go? Oh, this is how he looked this many years ago. 'Cause, there's probably no VODs of back.
Oh, I'm sure
Yeah,
that clip would be floating around somewhere.
that's the thing. I had to delete all my clips about a year ago because of the whole DMCA like thing. So I actually
Oh
like
yeah, that
erased
is true.
all my clips and stuff. So I don't think you'll find many old ones, unless if you go back and watch Dandelion shows, he might still have some clips, old clips, and I might be in one or two of them, I guess. But other than that, I'm not sure if you'll be able to find one.
Yeah, so I mean, so that was the beginning of streaming. And what year was this? How long have you been streaming for?
For I think it's about 3 years now. Yeah, just 3 years.
Okay, so it sounds like straight off the bat, you were already kind of, I mean, I would say you're already a little bit successful, because it's very hard. I mean, I was reading the stats somewhere on Twitch, and it's very hard to break out of the single digit average viewers, especially for your first few streams. Would you
It's that
say, yeah?
It it's easier in Gwen. Honestly, Gwen streaming is much easier to grow than most other categories. If you try stream a game like Call of Duty, Fortnite, one of these big games, it is impossible to grow. Gwent is that's the one nice one. Gwen is a really good game as a new streamer to stream in, because if you have even a somewhat entertaining personality, you're somewhat if you somewhat know how to play the game, you will probably grow if you're consistent and whatever. It's an easier category to grow in. The ceiling might not be very high. You're not going to get like 10,000 average viewers from Gwent, but the floor or the process of growing is much easier in Gwent, from what I can tell.
Yeah, I agree.
Mm.
Right. I think personally, when I started off, I was averaging, like most people in the beginning, 1 to 2 viewers, and then when I was streaming consistently, it was probably like 30 to 50, and like that was where it was averaging,
Mhm.
um, and then it dies out. Obviously, it's like an up and down thing if you're not consistent.
Yeah, yeah, you have to be
Uh,
consistent. Otherwise, that's the one thing about streaming is consistency is such an important aspect. It's very exhausting, but that is unfortunately one of the most important things is actually consistency.
Yeah,
Let me ask you this, just tying back to the question that I had. So when you're waking up every morning, do you like dread that you're gonna have to stream, 5, 6 hours of Gwent every day?
I do enjoy streaming. Sometimes in Gwent, I get a bit exhausted of Gwent. Gwent can be kind of like, ugh, this meta is annoying. I don't want to,
mm,
but I do enjoy streaming. Like if I had the ability to, let's say, stream any game I wanted for, let's say, 5,000 viewers, just hypothetically, I would legitimately enjoy just pressing go live. I enjoy the streaming aspect, that I really do enjoy. The game sometimes can be frustrating. Sometimes the meta is annoying, but I do, what keeps me motivated is the stream. If I wasn't streaming, I probably would not be playing Gwent. I'm not going to lie, because it would be too frustrating for me to just play one game 6 hours a day. But the stream part motivates me to keep going and keep going live and whatnot.
What is it
I
about? Yeah. Sorry, you go, Ezra.
Oh, I was just saying, like hypothetically, like what you were saying about the rise in the viewers, if it were to get up that high, a lot of the people that
Well,
have gotten successful, like, kind of don't interact with the chat anymore. It's just like, okay, just watch me
yes.
play, and occasionally I'll look over and maybe read that one message, and then go back to playing.
Yeah, unfortunately, if you XQC or something, you just can't read every message. So you'll have to obviously pick out specific ones because unfortunately, I mean, like right now, I do interact as much as I can chat, but I don't read every single message. When I first started, I did read literally every single message because I was able to keep up with that, but I obviously can't do that anymore. So you do obviously the more bigger your stream does go, the less interaction with chat you will naturally have, and that's unfortunately just kind of how it works inevitably.
I
Yeah,
mean,
and
I've
then
only.
imagine like somebody like being really big and trying to reply to 20,000 viewers' messages.
Yeah, I think it's impossible because I'm new to Twitch, but I went on I forget his name, XQC. I went on his stream when he was on one time. It was just one of the recommended channels. I love that discoverability of Twitch. But so they were showing him, and I just out of curiosity, I jumped into his stream. But it was just insane. Like just the chat, it was just it
Yeah,
wasn't even like lines, it was in blocks of
yeah,
the
you
chat.
can't read
There's
anything.
just there's no way you could read it. Like people are just writing things for the sake of
Yeah.
writing. No one's gonna
Yeah.
read it, and it's just interesting to see. Like you are a big streamer within the Gwent category, but there's still that element that you can interact with your chat, and I think that's
Yeah,
nice
for
because
sure.
that's the whole point of you streaming, I guess. Because like with him, it's just he wasn't even. There's no way he could even look at it. Like you'd get a headache just even trying to keep
Yeah.
up with the chat. So yeah, there's always it's interesting to see like when a streamer does become bigger, that interactivity, as you mentioned, it kind of goes. So I think I mean at the level that you're at, it's you can still kind of see what's going on in chat, which is
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah. No, I kind of just pick. I would say I probably read like one in every 4 or 5 comments. That's my like I think more or less. But before it used to be like every single comment. Obviously, the bigger you get, that number goes from 1 in 5 to 1 in 8, 1 in 10, 1 in 20, 1 in 30, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Eventually, it just comes to the point where people are just gonna watch me, and I'm just gonna get viewers. I don't need to
Yeah.
talk to them.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean,
I don't think that point gets reached in the Gwen scene though. I don't think the Gwen scene's big enough to support that many viewers for a streamer, but in other
Yeah,
scenes, yeah.
like it always amazes me, like when they have the opens, thousands of people just come out of nowhere and watch Gwent, and it's like we'll have like 15 to 20,000 viewers on average during the opens or even the Masters, and
Mhm.
then on some nights Gwent is barely averaging 300 people, and it's like where do all these people come from? Like it's I guess it's just the
I think
people
I think a
who
lot of them are kind of people that just zoned out of Gwent, and then when they see a tournament, they're like, "Oh, let me check out Gwent again, see what's happening. I want to catch up with things," and they just come pop in for like a day and go, "Oh, okay, so this is new. This is new, interesting." They just kind of check it out and then see what's happening, basically.
yeah.
I think
I
there's
think I think
mm, I think there's varying
no, I
degrees
just
of
agree.
players of, the kind of players that we see in Gwent. I mean, when I first started Gwent, I would say I would be considered a casual player because I would only open the game purely because out of boredom and I didn't care about climbing the ladder or anything like that. And I didn't even know there was like a ranking system until like I figured out what the numbers meant at the top. And I was like, oh, I'm rank 15. I had no idea. And I think some people might be like that, where they just don't even know what the numbers at the top mean, and then they'll occasionally jump onto Twitch. So I guess if there's like an open, it's kind of like more like, oh, this is like a fun thing to watch, and they're not religiously maybe following the game. It's like, if you watch a sport, some people are really religiously following the sport and they go to every game that their team plays. So those would be equivalent to, your diehard Twitch viewers that you see in your chat every single time. Whereas there's some people that just enjoy the game occasionally, and then they go to like, they visit the stream every now and then, or they open Gwent like every few months. So there's just varying degrees of what kind of people are within the category or the game that we play in. And so that's why we see like the fluctuations in, it's like if in the sport, if there's like a grand final, of course it's going to be much more interesting rather than like throughout the season. And I think Gwent's no different.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah. But yeah, we were talking about growing a channel. Was there a point in your career where you were like, because you were doing it because you were applying for jobs, and then you were like, oh, well, I've got time, I might as well stream my games. Was there a point where like, and at what point was it when you were like, okay, this could be my full-time job? Did you know the moment?
It's a really good question. I don't think I ever had a single moment where I thought of that. It was like a slow transition of applying less and less and streaming more and more. And then I think after I got partnered, which was about 3 or 4 months after I started streaming Gwent, I think. That's when I started being that's when I was like, okay, I'm gonna be consistent now. I'm gonna stream every day this time. Before then, I was kind of streaming it. I was going to stream 2 hours this day, 4 hours that day, this time, that time. I was all over the place. After I got partnered, I started treating it seriously. I didn't mentally say this is not my job. I just started saying, okay, I'm gonna be consistent. 12 to 6 is gonna be the time I stream. I'm gonna do it every day. And I kind of went with there. Honestly, in terms of like making it my job, I would say only the last 6 months has been the point where I've actually been like, okay, this is actually financially acceptable as a job, because before then I was not making enough to actually support myself fully. It was not like for about 2-ish years, 2.5 years or so. 2 years and a bit. It was like, yeah, it's growing, but it's not making me a whole lot of money, and it's kind of difficult to justify all this. But the last several months have somewhat changed now.
I feel like that's like the beauty of Gwent, and it's also its curse. You're gonna get a lot of viewers most of the time because a lot of the bigger streamers are generous enough to give the smaller streamers, a big host. You're known for giving thousands of viewers to somebody very small, and it's like a huge thing to them.
Mhm.
But then it's also like a lot of the people will leave right after that because they're only there for you, and maybe some will stay for the smaller person. But it's like that's kind of like I think you and I were talking about this in private. Like a lot of the people in Gwent just only watch you for Gwent. If you try to stream something else, unless they're a dedicated, you know, f- loyal viewer, they're not gonna stick around.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a certain like percentage. It's like it varies from channel to channel, but I would say it's roughly about 20 to 25, 20 to 25% of your viewers will watch you for you.
yeah,
It varies on streamers and whatnot, but roughly, I think at least in the Gwen scene, about 20% of usually from I know, like I said, I notice people when they stream the games. I'm mentally keeping track of of every. I look at this a lot. I see other people stream different games, and I go, okay, you normally get this many viewers, now you got this many viewers,
Yeah.
so on, so on. I've kind of built a mental picture that about 20% of people watch you for you, the rest are there for Gwent.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like I've noticed that personally. I'm not gonna say his name, but when he plays Apex Legends, I'm sure you know who I'm talking about.
I think so, yeah.
There's a big change. He's consistently around your numbers, and then when he plays Apex, it drops considerably. But as long as he's having fun, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that is an interesting point that you guys make, and I guess that was probably one of the things that a lot of Twitch streamers, I don't want to say worry, but it's kind of a concern for them, I would say. As you said, and it might just pertain to the Gwent scene. It may not apply to all streamers because some streamers are known to be variety. But
Yeah.
why do you think that is, where say if you're streaming a niche game like Gwent, and you said because the floor is quite low and you're able to grow really quickly within a niche game, why is it that when that streamer goes on to stream a different game, why is it that people don't view that game anymore? Like
I
why do
haven't
they not watch?
I think there's 2 reasons for this. It's not something I know fully. If I knew this answer, I really would like to know this answer. Something I ask myself all the time, but I don't get the full answer. But one of my theories is that people are there for the community, right?
Mhm.
When a lot of people watch certain streams, not even that sometimes they don't even care about the streamer. They don't even care about the stream. They just know that that streamer has X community and they like that X community. That they like
Mhm.
that community, that chat, and they're there for to be around their friends. They're there to it's like a social group for them. They want to be around.
Yeah.
And when you switch games, they people already go, okay, now the group is now breaking up. They're going to go to another Gwen streamer. I'm going to follow my friends
Mhm.
over to someone else's stream because I want to be part of the community, and the community is now there or there. So a lot of people, I think, are not watching. Get people, some people that watch you for you. You get some people that watch you for Gwent, and you get some people that watch you for your community. Not even, and
Mhm.
that I think you lose the people that are there for Gwent and the people that are there for your community. Those two groups get split up when you switch game category. I think that's at
Mhm.
least my theory.
Yeah,
Mhm.
eventually so many people are gonna stop clicking, "Would you like to join the host or would you like to join the raid?" Eventually people are just gonna be like, "All right, I've gone through 3 of these already, it's time to leave," you know?
Mhm.
I've seen that, there's definitely that option, that thought process too when you're doing it.
Yeah, but also like I guess as Spiro mentioned, like I'm just talking from my point of view. So personally, I only like to watch Gwent. That's the only thing I like to watch on Twitch. I've tried watching other games, and it's just not for me. So I'm just assuming that maybe that's how other people feel. Maybe they only
Out of curiosity, is that because of the gameplay or the community for you?
For me, to be honest, I never even played games before the pandemic. So I like looking at other games, I'm like, this is all new to me. And the only thing I know is Gwen. So I guess it's more the community factor, I guess, because
That's what I thought.
yeah, exactly. So it was interesting that you mentioned about the community thing because if I went to a different game, I wouldn't know anyone. Like I have no
Mhm.
problem. Like I came to Twitch not knowing anybody at all. I didn't even have a Discord or Twitter. So I came onto Twitch absolutely no one, knowing nobody in the gaming community. So I don't have a problem with that. But I don't know. I think it might be the gameplay as well because that's all I want to watch and that's all I have time for to like pour my energy into like knowing a game because I think
But
sometimes when you watch games you don't fully understand them because you haven't had the chance to I don't know like dive into the
how
game.
how much would you watch streams if I told you you can't see the chat? You will you can see the gameplay, you can see the stream, but you're not allowed to see or read or type in chat. How would that change your viewing of Twitch or Gwent in
Yeah, I
general?
already know for a fact that like sometimes I do visit smaller streamers for the gameplay, but if I'm more inclined to visit a stream with like the community in there.
That's
So
exactly the thing. That's I think it's a very big underrated aspect of streaming is people don't understand how important it actually is to have a community
mhm.
there, and that's what is a reason why people stick around and watch streams because of the other people. It's like a group of friends coming together and just like hanging out.
Yeah, I mean, like so let's talk about the community, which you have obviously grown in the 3 years that you've been streaming. And of course, we want to keep a positive community. That's the whole reason why you want to stream. But obviously, sometimes things aren't always so positive in the community.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've dealt with this as you've grown as a streamer. So I guess how do you deal with the negativity or the trolls? Because I mean, you have your mods to help you out. You also have your Discord, which is quite big. So if someone was I mean, if someone wanted to be a streamer like you, and it's all fine and dandy in the start when you've got like a few viewers, but as you grow, there's going to be a lot of opinions in your chat.
Mhm.
How do you deal with the negativity? How do you deal with the
I
trolls?
in the beginning, it's not so much of an issue. I think when I first started streaming, I didn't have an issue with trolls for the first year. I never had problems with chats. After a certain threshold, it kind of became there were some annoying people comments that would pop up, and I used to be very lenient towards it. I used to kind of
Mhm.
turn a blind eye, just ignore it and blah blah. But at a certain point, especially the more you stream it, you start getting more and more irritated with these comments. And I do think that you need to kind of put your foot down at some point, just and deal with them. You can either have a system of timing them out or banning them, but I do think that it's important to try keep the stream. As a streamer, I think people are free to choose the streamer, but I think the streamer is also free to choose the community they want to try cultivate in the stream. So if people don't fit your community or don't conform to the way you want your community to be, I think you should not be scared to say, okay, you know what, this is not the kind of person I want in the stream. And if they're going to constantly be a bad influence or to pull the stream environment down, if they're making they're making you upset and you're being upset, it's also going to make it's going to upset everyone else as well. So they're not only affecting you, but they're affecting everyone else. And trying to keep the stream in a manner that you want is obviously important. So I do think that people need to realize that and not be scared of putting their foot down and saying, okay, I want this, and I'm sorry, but if you don't, if you can't, conform to what my chat is supposed to be like, then that might be the place for you.
Yeah, I think that's probably one of the things that streamers are. I don't want to say the word afraid, but it's one of the things that they might have a concern of when they're growing, because some people and I've visited your streams and I feel like you guys have a lid on it. Like if someone's being negative or just taking the stream in a direction where it's like, okay, this is going to go south, you guys are like straight onto it. Like this person is just going to have a bit of a timeout just to chill out and think about what they're doing, because
thank Arabeth for that.
That's literally what I was waiting to say. I'm like, all you have to do is say Arabeth ban. And she'll just go slam the ban hammer down.
Yeah.
I was like, yep, just utter one word.
Yeah.
Arabic, go attack.
Was there I guess when did you start noticing negativity the more you grew? Like was there a point where you're like, okay, this is getting a bit too much as well? Like was there ever a point?
Someday most of the time when it's like days where I might be more frustrated. A lot of the trolls, they kind of lurk and they wait for moments where they can see that you're in an agitated state. They're like, okay, now's when I can get to now I can get to him easier. I can see, I smell blood. Now it's my turn to attack. And a lot of trolls they kind of lurk. They wait for the right moment, and the more I stream, the sometimes I get more irritable, and that's when they strike. But like I said, the bigger the stream got, the more. I mean, it's obviously normal. If you look at XQC's chat, I'm sure there's thousands of trolly comments all the time, but chat's obviously moving so fast it doesn't even phase him. But the bigger the stream, you're going to attract more people that are obviously going to maybe not have the best intentions. It's just a natural thing, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like if you're, as long as you've got it under control and everything's kept to a reasonable extent of positivity, some trolls are allowed. Because sometimes it is funny to see. I've seen you crack a smile before to some people's trolly comments.
Sometimes it's funny. Sometimes
it's funny. It cracks me up. Like sometimes I don't personally chat much in your chat, but I'm always watching. Always up at 5, 6 in the morning to get you.
Ezra's is just there lurking.
Yeah, I'm just there lurking, and then I'll occasionally say something, and then usually it's usually just a troll. I like to troll just maybe once.
I mean,
so you're one of them, Ezra's.
I mean, to be fair, I think there's a big distinction between trolling and memeing. Sometimes people are just like memeing. They say things that they know everyone will know that it's a meme. Like I think there are some people, like for example, I'll give some names like Euron or a Necros, like the kind of people that like to meme in chat. But I know they're never trolling. I know that they have good intentions, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a big difference between trolling and memeing, and I think some people don't quite understand the difference well enough. But yeah.
Yeah, like I do it to see if I can get a smile out of them or a laugh. That's literally, it just makes my day, just to see if somebody laugh at a joke or something like that.
Yeah,
I guess it goes back to what we were discussing before in terms of, I mean, the community. Like that's what people are there for. Like in your stream, people are there to have a good time. So It doesn't surprise me that there's always going to be the regulars that are trying to put a smile on your face because they know that. I mean, they watch you often enough, right? So they know when
Yeah,
you
honestly,
are.
that's one of the things that motivate me the most to keep streaming because no, recognizing because even though I recognize names very well, like I know people. If I honestly, I keep saying if Twitch were to like hide all the names, but I just see the comments, I would be able to recognize some people just based on their mannerisms and how they talk. I would be able to recognize who people are because I do notice people quite well. You might not see me like say people's names or like personally um know that, but I do recognize people quite well, and seeing the regulars, seeing the people there having a good time, that is a big part of what motivates me to keep going as well, because for the community, basically for my little community or whatever, I do enjoy seeing them every day, and like seeing them interact and chat and see them laugh or try and make me laugh or whatever.
Yeah, just quickly switching
Likes to
gears. I know
he likes he
we
likes to
turn.
count how many Keck W's you can see in chat. That's all.
I know we mentioned it before. So, uh, when we were talking about you streaming full time, you mentioned that you stream because you actually just love streaming, and not so much because of the game, which is probably interesting for a lot of the viewers or the listeners because I think a lot of people might think, oh, he plays this game every single day. He must absolutely love the game. He does it for 6 hours a day. But it's interesting to hear you say that you do this because you love streaming. What is it about streaming that you love? Is it the community? What is it
I mean,
about streaming that you love?
interacting with people is one thing, obviously, and also having like a channel or a thing that I can grow. It's like a business almost, like something that I'm putting work in, and it feels
Mhm.
good to see growth, to see yourself improve, to see things get better and bigger, and I'm a very motivated person. I do like achieving goals and achieving things, and it is something that unlike when you do a normal, it depends on the job, obviously, but a lot of jobs, you go to work, you do the same kind of routine every day, but
Mhm.
you're not really advancing so much. Obviously, there are career paths, there are ways to climb and whatever, but you're not really directly, when you stream, it's your work is directly related to your
The,
growth or
the,
your
the
whatever.
outcome.
It's you that you have complete control of kind of what's going on, and it's a very rewarding thing. You have to be very disciplined, but it is a very rewarding thing that you can motivate yourself towards, which I that's kind of what I like about streaming, is just seeing what I can do and how I can try and improve things all the time.
So, do you believe there are certain qualities that you feel like someone should have to be a successful streamer now on
Yes.
Twitch?
You have to be obviously talkative. You can't if you're not going to say anything, you're probably, unless you're like the best player in, if you're like the best Dota player in the world, maybe you can get through without saying much because people are just so interested in you, how high level you are, they don't even care what your personality. But for the most part, you need to be talkative. You need to obviously talk to chat, engage with chat, and you have to the more upbeat, the more like energetic you are in general, the better, I would say. And like people, if someone's like sitting there going just streaming like they're not going to really be super interested. They want someone that's active, and they have has energy, and also obviously the better you are at a certain game, it's only a plus. It's not obviously important. It's not the most important thing because people watch people for entertainment, but sometimes obviously being better at a game does give you some benefits. And yeah, I think it's just being talkative, saying what you interacting with your chats and whatnot, I think is definitely a big plus, and being energetic in general.
So,
Yeah.
what you're saying is hot tub stream soon for you? Is that what you're saying?
Not
Just
quite.
kidding.
I think that's something that your chat has always brought up, but yeah, I just I don't know how
Well,
serious they are.
I swear one day I'm gonna have to do it just to make chat keep quiet.
I mean, the closest we
Put a big
probably
old
got,
hot tub in your room, just in the back.
I think the closest we got was you in the
Bathroom.
bathroom. Yeah, that
Yeah.
happened. That happened a couple of weeks ago. So I think that's the most that we'll get close to a hot tub stream from Sphere. But if somebody was, so you mentioned some qualities that you believe that would make a Twitch stream a
I
successful.
also
So
forgot to mention consistency. That is actually
yeah.
that is one that's a difficult one, because obviously a lot of people have real life commitments and it's not easy being consistent. But that is honestly, from what I can tell, a really, really, really important aspect. And
almost like
It's not
clocking in for a
easy.
job. You know, if you're not there to
Yeah,
clock in every day, it's gonna,
the way
you
I
know.
look at it, right, is it's I noticed this when I do my 24-hour stream. During different time periods, I was getting a lot less viewers than my normal time period because I'm so consistent in my time period that people have had they've come into like it's the people I track people at this exact time. People that go either watch me before they go to work or watch me at this time for whatever reason, and I've attracted obviously an audience at that specific time because I'm
Mhm.
very consistent at that time period. But 8 p.m., 9 a.m., it's a lot less viewers because it's a different audience because I'm not consistent in those time periods. And I think that's if you just look, if I just do a couple of streams at night or in the morning or different time zones, you'll see a very big difference in things because it's it's the consistency aspect. It's like a TV show. If you know your TV show starts at 8 o'clock every night, you're like, oh, it's 7:55. I'm gonna turn on the TV, get ready for my show. But if that TV show is one day at 8, one day at 2, one day at 3, one day at 4, you're probably not going to follow it anymore. You're just going to go, whatever. This is too annoying to try to keep track of this TV show. So I think keeping a consistent streaming schedule really does actually help a lot. And I don't know how much people understand this, but unfortunately, I actually think it's one of the more important things about streaming. But it's not easy because real life commitments can make that hard sometimes.
Mm.
Yeah, a lot of people, you know, even people who are mildly successful on Twitch still have, you know, a career to fall back on, or you know, a job that they have to commit to,
Yeah.
even though you know they can still have, you know, thousands or hundreds of viewers or whatever.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Because it's not, you know, their full time job. Some prefer to even have, you know, a full time career in the background because you know it keeps them busy, you
Mhm.
know, or they just like to have multiple sources of income. Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, going back to what you said before, so you treat your stream like a business. I mean, you studied a business commerce degree, so I think a little bit of that plays into it. And obviously, you're a highly motivated individual. Um, but I guess what Ezra was saying, like, some people do this as like a side thing, but what you've
Yeah.
mentioned is that if you, and I'm the belief of this too, I have a business of my own. And it used to be a side hustle for me too, and then I made it my full-time thing. But you know what it was for me that when it became full-time for me was when I changed my mindset and I said this is going to be my full-time job. And I think streaming is no different. Like I know, and you said it took you a long time before you were able to financially support yourself because um like people think that once you're affiliate you make heaps of money, and it's not the case at all. There's
You can be getting 700 viewers and you might not be making much at all. So,
exactly. So it is a difficult thing to try and become a full-time streamer. So my hats off to you. But I think, as you mentioned before, like if you want something, and this is for anyone that's listening out there, it's not even just streaming. Like if you want something to be your full-time job, you need to work at it, and that's what we've seen a result of you doing. Like you mentioned that you've been consistent. You've had your daily schedule from 12 to 6. You could have had all these other commitments like everybody else, but you've made that decision to go, okay, I'm doing this properly, right? And then once you made that decision to say like, oh, I'm doing this properly, that's when you saw your stream grow, if I'm not correct in that.
yeah, I mean, I was lucky. My stream actually from the beginning did grow very fast. But I just, again, after I hit partner, I was like, I'm going to take this seriously and see what happens because I thought I'm the kind of person that says if I'm going to do something, I want to do it right. I don't like doing things halfway. If I commit to something, I want to really commit to something. And that's kind of how I went. And it takes a lot of discipline as well because, like, as you mentioned, doing it every day, sometimes there will be times where I'm just like, I really just don't like this meta. And I just don't want to do anything right now. I'd rather just take a day off and go watch a movie or do whatever. But I said to myself, nope, we're gonna keep going. We're gonna make sure that we, we have our whole lives to relax and do whatever. I'm gonna make sure that I
Hmm.
do as much as I can now while I can.
Hmm.
Let me ask this. Now, you know, speaking or mentioning on that, you know, where you feel like sometimes it's a drag to, you know, force yourself to play.
I mean,
Has it ever?
sometimes it is, but I mean, again, I do get the motivation kicks in to try overwrite the dread, should I say? And like it's like think of it like a pendulum of weights or something, and it's the I might be dreading to play because I don't like the meta, or whatever. But the counterweight of me enjoying streaming, the motivation kind of balances out and it keeps me going basically.
Hmm.
Has it ever felt like it's overwhelming that you like, you pretty much are the Gwent community on your shoulders? Like most of the people are gonna tune in for you.
Mm. Ah, I don't know. I don't really think too much about these kind of. I usually just I'm the kind of person who stays in my lane and just says, okay, I'm gonna do my thing and I'm just gonna do it as well as I can. I don't really worry too much about all the external things that go on. But I don't know. I just want to make sure that I can grow as much as I can, and then at some point, like start maybe at some point taking it more easy. But obviously, that
Yeah.
needs to. I just want to make sure that while I can grow and everything as much as possible.
Hmm. And we were speaking about schedules before, and I think maybe people might catch on to this, some might not. When you first started, developing your schedule, was there any, looking into the analytics of which times do better for you? Was there any thought
Mm.
into what your schedule
When
was at?
When I first started, it was very up and down because I was looking for gaps when other big streamers weren't on. I was constantly trying to find windows where I was like, "Oh crap, Freddy's streaming today. That's gonna hurt my numbers. I guess I'm gonna maybe skip today or stream earlier or whatever." And I was
Mhm,
constantly looking for little windows between streamers and constantly I was literally watching other streamers' schedules and planning my streams around them and being very careful with, especially
mhm,
when I was applying for partner, I was being very, very careful about any external streamers to try and make sure my numbers as good as possible for applying. But in the beginning, I was like dodging around other streamers. And like I said, after I got partner, I said, okay, now I don't really care if my numbers slightly decline one day or whatever because I'm partner now. So I was like, now I'm going to stream from 12 to 6 and I don't care what. I'm just going to stream from 12 to 6 and the whole world can stream at the same time as me. I don't care. I'm still streaming at this time because this
just once
this
you
is the
got it,
time I'm going
yeah.
to stream.
Yeah, so obviously you're speaking about Twitch partner, right?
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so you had the goal of becoming Twitch partner. So it's interesting that you say that you were looking out for the gaps, because I look at the Gwent category, and there's certain times. Look, I'm in Australia, so I'm able to see times that the Europeans might not see. But it's interesting to see, like, there's certain times that all the streamers are on, right? Like for me, it's in early in the morning. I see every single EU, and look, they've got their commitments and they've got their day job, so I understand why they all stream at the same time. But I was thinking, and as you said, like if you were trying to become partner, or you think that it's going to hurt your average viewership, it's going to be super competitive because you're trying to win. And as you said, there's not that many, the ceiling is not that high for Gwent. So you're going to share a lot of the same viewers. And I see a lot of them streaming at the same time. So a lot of the viewers are like, oh, I don't know which stream to go to. So
Yeah.
would you say that's like a tip for somebody that was trying to become partner, is to try and, I guess if you could, like if you had the flexibility, would you try to stream at times where it's not as busy?
Yeah. Definitely at times are not as busy. There's also a bit of a waiting because usually like the best time slot in Gwent in terms of people that are actually watching Gwent is not right now, but like two hours behind, 2 hours
Mhm,
ago from now,
yeah.
like 10 p.m. CET, CST, something like
Yes,
10
yeah.
9. That night, early night. That's the best time. There's the most viewers in, but it's also one of the highest contested. So there's a downside. Now, if you stream at 3 a.m., there will be a lot less competition, but there will be significantly less viewers. So it's about this. There's like Goldilocks zone, so to speak, of streaming.
I think
I
Um,
feel
I'm the
really.
3 a.m.
Yeah.
no, that's not exactly the Goldilocks zone. The
No.
Goldilocks zone is a moment where there's a lot of viewers, but not a lot of streamers. Those are rare. But if you
Yeah.
can find if you can find gaps like that, even if they're small gaps for like 2 hours, it really does make a big difference. That's what I was doing when I started out.
Mm,
I think I
mm,
remember like when she had just like I'm referring to Emil when she had just got accepted into being an affiliate, I believe. I think there was that point where the other big person that's streaming Gwent trying to he had moved on to the storybook and she was on asking me, should I take over his time slot? Should I stream normally when he streams? And I was like, try it, go ahead. And next thing you know, she was getting what 300-400 viewers, right? Isn't that you were getting?
Yeah, I mean,
For like a good week or two.
I think it was very obvious that like because I was kind of feeling a gap. Like people were like, "Oh, there's no one else on at this time." Like you got to remember. I mean, the European time obviously that's the peak time. That's when a lot of Europeans are on. But there's also the North American audience too. So they said there was a bit of a gap in like the streams because I think the next time some big streamer would, I think they will be waiting for you. And that was there was a long period where they like just didn't have anyone else to watch. So I think I mean look, I'm in Australia, so I'm able to see that time zone. I'm able to see the overnight, and it's so quiet during that time when everyone's like the Europeans are asleep. Like there's probably like 100 viewers max on Gwent. And so then it becomes morning for Europe, and then you see people wake up and get ready for work, and they put Twitch on, and some people actually put Twitch on at work. So I think I think as a streamer you it's obviously got to work to your schedule, but I think you have to be, as a streamer, if you want to be successful, I guess you've got to be flexible. And as you said, you had a strategy into what time you streamed. It's not by accident. Like it wasn't just like, oh, I'm just going to turn the stream on now and go live. And
in the beginning it was kind of like whatever, but then at a certain point I was like, now it's this exact time.
Yeah, exactly. So tell us more. I mean, we're switching gears here, but tell us more about life in South Africa. Would you ever consider doing a day-to-day life vlog or in a real
honestly,
life stream?
I do want to do like one, just not an often thing, but like every like maybe like once every 2 months type of thing, like an IRL stream where I just like
Have
go
you
to
ever
the
done
beach
it?
area. No, I don't have equipment for it. I need to get a proper. I don't even know what you need. You probably need a much better phone or camera. I don't know how exactly it's done. I haven't even looked it up. But right now I don't have the equipment for it. But I do. It is something that I do want to do at some point. I do actually want to try go to the beach areas here. Go to a restaurant or something. Do an IRL stream. But it's not. I don't have the equipment for it right now. But it is something I do want to do at some point. I know it won't be to get like a super load of views or anything, but it will be fun to like hang out with my community and just like show them life here, because actually honestly I know South Africa is not the best place in the world to live, but it is very beautiful, and there are like great beaches and great restaurants and great places to like hang out with nice views and stuff right by my house, like just down the road essentially. And I think there would be some people that would enjoy that, but it is something I want to do at some point. It's something that it's kind of like I don't really have any direct plans for it now, but it's something that I do want to do.
Guys, you heard it here first. He's going to venture off from Gwent and show us life in South Africa.
So just kind of elaborating on that, how would you ever feel if you had like, viewers come up to you and just be like, "Hey, I know you."
Have you had that happen to you?
As long as they're not like weird, I'll be all game to like hang out, go catch a drink and just like chill and hang out and whatever. But
Like a meet and greet kind of thing.
As long as the person isn't like super creepy. I mean, you can get some creepy out there, but yeah.
Don't be like those other streamers, people who actually show up to their house. Like, how do they find out?
That's what gets creepy if someone just like ran around a certain house and whatnot.
I think you have to be careful with that, because I think that happened, especially I've heard of some female streamers. I guess like people get a little bit obsessed, and then have been instances where they visit the streamer's house. I don't know how they find out that. So I think there is that element of, I mean, we want to be in touch with our community and meet people that come into our streams, but also we have to think of safety as well. So I guess it's that fine line, trying to make sure that, I'm keeping myself and my family safe. I don't want people to know where I live, but also at the same time, you want to get to know the people that come into your stream. So it can be that like fine balance.
Yeah.
Mm.
So, if you did an IRL stream, where exactly would you plan on going?
Eden on the Bay. There's basically like a beach area here. It's like got this nice grass area right in front of the beach, and there's like a whole bunch of restaurants and like a big path in the front, and it's got a very nice view of Tail Mountain and everything. It's honestly like a beautiful place. That is exactly where I'd go because if people haven't seen that view, I think most people would look at them like, holy crap, this place looks amazing. So it really does look beautiful. That's definitely where I'll be going for an IRL stream, I think.
I think
Yeah, like I looked up pictures on Google and I was like, wow, I wasn't expecting that to look that great.
I feel
Yeah.
like Google might not do it justice, right?
Yeah, no, definitely not.
I think I would say that your viewers would love to see that because they know Spyro as the guy. Like, and I've seen your streams. I watch your streams because of your gameplay. To be honest, like I love seeing you play, and I pick up tips from that. And I think a lot of people would watch you for that reason. But I think a lot of people would love to know more about you and like what your day-to-day life is. I know it's like, it sounds
my day-to-day life is very much I'm streaming my day-to-day life.
I know it sounds mundane. It's just one of those things. Like social media is like such a, I would say it's a weird and wonderful place because prior to social media, it's like people, I don't know, it's just people have a fascination with, I've come from the world of Instagram and I just see absolutely everything on Instagram where people are sharing like, you know, their skincare routine to like what they eat and like what they're wearing. And I think people have this fascination with, you know, like people they look up to and like exactly what they do every day. Like it's just something people are fascinated with. So I think maybe if you did do an in real live stream, it would be like very interesting to see how your audience would react.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it would be interesting. I definitely want to try it out at some point. But yeah, I need to just work out the
logistics.
the logistics of it all.
Imagine what the public would look like. You're just there, just walking around with a camera.
I think that's what they do. Like I've seen other just chatting streamers. Personally, I've jumped into, this is just me, but I've jumped into the just chatting streams, and I just find it boring. But like, because they're just walking around like with their camera. But there's so many people on watching, and they absolutely love it, and they're interacting with their chat while they're having like they'll plunk the camera down onto the table while they're having dinner with friends. And so it feels like the viewer is there with them. So I think some people enjoy that. I mean, look, there's other things on Twitch that like the ASMR stuff. So that people have there's everything for there's everything for everyone on Twitch. So I think it's just one of those things. Like some people absolutely love it. Some people are like, oh, you know, whatever. But it's just that fascination.
Spyro ASMR stream win.
I think he does it all the time anyway. He's typing.
Big content. No. Next video. So I'd like to point this out. This is just me, you know, with the BB question. So, you know, like I said, I've dubbed you the Lord of Papikas. You know, everybody also does it too. You know, they like to W that. So, you know, when you use that emote in the channel, you know, the Pepe frog, like at what point did you realize I'm like, okay, I actually pretty much made this emote like even better than what it was?
The which one?
The Pepe frog, you know, like how you have like all those different kind of emotes before.
Oh, like the Komodos. Oh, I mean,
yeah. Like, because it wasn't Komodos at first. It was also like.
No, it was always Komodos. It was always Komodos for my channel.
Well,
yeah,
I guess we're thinking about, you know, BTTV, I guess. Because, you know, like a lot of players like.
To be honest, I don't touch BTTV. I don't do the only emotes I do are my channel emotes. All the other emotes are done from like the mods.
Yeah, like when Bushy made the monkey emote, like everybody uses that.
Yeah.
I think it's part of the community.
Like, I guess I guess like when you see these emotes, you're just like, oh, what's secret?
I think
not everybody uses them everywhere now.
I mean, you know, when I came to Twitch this year in July, and it's like when you're new to Twitch, you just find it such a different world. Like I had to Google what kick W meant, like, because I didn't have the extension, right? So I just kept seeing people write kick W and Pepper Smile, and I was like, what is this? So it's a whole, I actually had to go the other day.
Whole culture.
Yeah, it's like a whole new culture. So there's actually a encyclopedia if anyone's listening and they're wondering, you know, what these emotes mean. And I actually like went out of my day to read what the emotes meant. I know I sound like such a noob, but because I was like, what is this actually like? What is, the origins of it was interesting too. Like some of the emotes are like 10 years old and it like went viral once and now it's just stuck forever. Like where did the Kick W guy come from? And it turns out he's a Spanish comedian. There's like a skit of him laughing in a certain way, and that's just become the global emote for Twitch. And it's just like, it's so interesting how these things have become like the universal language of like conveying your laughter, pretty much, is like the
Like
Kick.
like when the PogChamp emote got placed, that was
Yeah,
just
I
the
read that
iconic
up.
symbol.
I
You
read
know,
that, and it said that it was for a video from like 10 years ago.
yeah. It was
And
just a guy who worked at Twitch, and or I don't even know, no, I don't even think he worked at Twitch. I think he was just a guy just on a stream one time. He
can
just made that
you,
face, and then yeah.
yeah, but
Yeah, I don't know where the origins are.
can you imagine if like you have one video and someone clipped that and made into a emote, and then like for 10 years that was like the way that people like the emote that people use to convey a certain emotion. Like it's such a strange thing. But Twitch is a weird and wonderful community. It's just, yeah. But
Speaking of that, the guy who's known for the Kappa emote, he streams on Twitch still.
yeah, I
He
think he
used to work for
does.
Twitch.
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't stream very often, but yeah, I follow him, and he's pretty chill. It's literally the guy that's the Kappa face.
That's
That's
it's
interesting.
amazing.
Yeah.
So lastly, and I know we've been talking for a while now, but I wanted to know, when it comes to Gwent, what direction do you want the game to go in, and also your channel? Like, what are your goals? I mean, you said one of your goals was to become partner. That was a goal, and now you've reached that. What is the ultimate, I guess, end game?
Ultimate goal.
Yeah, what is the
End
ultimate
game,
goal?
ultimate
Yeah,
goal.
for your
The
channel.
ultimate goal
Domination.
is to be able to just stream whatever I want and still have like enough viewers and income to support me, and just like, okay, today we're gonna play this game, today we're gonna play this game, today I feel like playing that game, today I feel like playing that. That is a very long-term ambitious goal, because that is probably the end goal of every streamer, or most streamers, because that's the best place to be in. But that'll, if it will ever happen, who knows, we'll see. But that's like the end goal. But it's like more of a fantasy than a goal, I think, but we'll see.
Is there any games that you had in mind? If you could play any game,
I would play a lot of
stream?
I would just play single player games. I love single player games, just
Yeah.
story games. Just try out all the new games, try the different stories, and just play some just random stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Like right now, I just personally just got a Metroid Dread on my Nintendo Switch. I bought the Switch, like maybe a year ago, and I've only touched it like 3 times. Like I bought it like a few months before I built my PC. It's brand new. Like everything looks brand new. On it. And I've never touched it. I'm like, okay. Once I got a PC, I was like, okay, I forgot about the Switch, and then I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna try playing it. And it's actually nice, not be on the computer. Sitting there in the chair for several hours. I can just walk around and play my Switch.
Is
I don't
Switch the little console? Is that, yeah, it's like a handheld? Okay. So it's like a Game Boy? I'll
Maybe I
Google
check.
this, guys.
That's what it looks like.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Kind of looks like a Game Boy, I guess. Yeah. But yeah,
The Switch Lite, but yeah.
So yeah, obviously you want to, one day hopefully you can stream whatever game you want and it won't affect your, I guess, your viewership. And because yeah, you have to think about, whether this is going to be, it's your full-time job, so it has to work for you, right? So yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, what direction do you like the way that Gwent is now? And if not, what would you like to see in the future from Gwent?
I would like there to be less auto-include stuff, because I feel like deck building is a very strange place right now. I feel like when you build a deck, you have to play this card, this card, this card, and decks are building themselves. You don't feel like you have much room for creativity right now. I'd really like to see Gwent have a overall balance shift where the bad cards are made better and the good cards are made worse, so that we have like variety in the deck building, where you can go, that card could be good in this situation. Oh, but that card could also be good. Oh, but what if we ran this card and tried this combo and did that? And right now it's kind of well, I have to put Fakusi in my deck because it's just too good. I have to put Bravins in my deck because it's just too good. I have to put Rafard's Vengeance and Amphibious Assault in my deck because it's just too good. And I think that takes away a lot from the deck building. So I'd really like to see Gwent move away from like these auto include cards that have to be put in every single deck and give more room for variety deck building, or deck building that can be, you know, viable but different.
What
Well,
he's
yeah.
basically saying is he wants vampires to be good.
That too.
I think that'll help also if you're playing it, several hours a day. At least you're not playing the same kind of cards all the time as well. Like, it would actually make it very fresh, and you would, especially in the pro ladder, you would see different kinds of decks rather than you do see the same kind of cards over and over. It kind of gets a little bit predictable. Like, it would be nice to have that little bit of unpredictability of the different archetypes in play. And yeah, I can definitely I can see why you would say that.
Yeah.
Well, amazing. Thank you. Yeah, go ahead, Ezra's.
I was just gonna point on just the fact that, like, a lot of the decks that you've been known to play or been more on the serious side, they're always going to be more competitive. You stated that's how you want your channel to be. You want to bring, the top tier competitive side. But I think it's also refreshing to see, like, sometimes when you do see these meme like sort of decks work, it kind of is a refreshing, yeah, just have fun. I don't have to
Yeah.
essentially bring, the top decks that are always, in the meta reports every time.
Yeah. Well, maybe one day. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Spyro. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. If people don't know where to find you, they can find you on Twitch. And you're also on Twitter, I believe.
Yeah.
And on YouTube.
Yeah. I'm around places.
Speaking of YouTube, you have a new video up today, I noticed.
Yes, I did.
Yes. Well, for everyone that's listening, we'll put it in the description and the show notes of where you can find Spyro. Go check him out. He is the #1 Gwent streamer in our category, so go check him out. But yeah, thank you so much again.
All right, thanks for having me, and yeah, enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you.
Morning. Bye-bye.
See you in a few hours, buddy.